I don't want to waste my time anymore at the events. I want to actually master the networking.
The reality is 80% of decision makers attend trade shows.
Let's go through the whole journey, what we could do to maximize our networking skills. Is there a way I need to prepare?
Fail to plan to fail.
How do I choose the right event?
Well, going to an IT event is not going to have your HR director, right?
What if I'm an introvert?
Body language is huge. If they're not looking you in the face, if their arms are closed and their feet are point the other way, they're not comfortable, they don't want to talk to you.
What are the biggest mistakes people do at the event? Hi guys, welcome to my new episode, Brands Through Stories. Today's episode is about one of the most powerful tool that we could have as an entrepreneurs. This tool is networking. And looking at the numbers of events that are happening every month, I can see there's a lot of interest from people around this region into the events, especially business events. Now, when I go to these events, there are usually this type of business people I see. The first type of networker is the one who knows it all. They're the masters of networking. They go around, they do handshakes, they smile, they close the deals. They're all happy and proud of themselves. Then there is a second type, which is more those that standing by the coffee machines or smoking outside, looking around and waiting for people to come to talk to them. And then there is a third type, which is me. Prepared, get your business card sorted, all ready to network, enter the event, find the friends, and then stick with them for the entire event, knowing deep inside that that's not the right way. Now, I don't want to waste my time anymore at the events. I want to actually master the networking from now on. And I thought that the best person for it to teach me how to do the networking properly is, of course, my guest today, Rachel Meuleman. Rachel is a keynote speaker at the top business events in the region, and she's the founder of the company called BizzAngels, the only company that helps with networking through human connection. The company that can get you leads, can grow your network, and it's all right at the event. And if you don't like networking, they can do it on your behalf. So please, if you like this episode, I would really appreciate if you can please click the like button, leave your comments, and of course, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you. Rachel, thank you so much for finding time, joining me. You're my one of the favorite guests on this show. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. I love that you invite me back to come and speak and have a good conversation about this. This is a big issue right now in the region, I think globally. It's great to have this opportunity. Thank you.
So, do you agree with me that these are the three types of people at the events? The one that really know how to do it, that I always envy. The second one that is just waiting for some miracles to happen. And then the third one, me. Look for your friends, find some friends and stick around.
Absolutely. I think I love that you have categorized in these three ways. I think there's even variables of people that just got really tired after a while, right? Depending on what your job is and what you're trying to do. So from the entrepreneurs that have to go out and meet people for business to the people that are salespeople that have to go and network and engage just for business, right? So it really depends on what their objective is. And that's how I segment them even further based on what their behaviors are like at these trade shows or events in general.
Events in general.
Yeah.
I wanna go to this whole networking. So I'm sure you agree networking, that's really your purpose, right, in life, to teach people how to network and to help them not to waste time. Now, let's go through the whole journey. Before the event, during the event, after the event, what we could do to maximize our networking skills, what we could do. So let's start with the first thing. Before event, is there a way I need to prepare? Or what do I need to do to be really good and to get some business out of it?
So there's no doubt planning is a huge part of this. Strategizing is even a bigger part of it, and I've been doing it for years. So, and I know I've really fine-tuned it to a way that I want to teach other people, and so that's where what came through this journey to where I am today. And the preparation is key. Everything's about planning. I love this quote that says, fail to plan to fail, because that's essential to what we're doing here, you know? People are spending a fortune on some of these exhibitions, a massive amount of money. It's the highest cost per lead in marketing. The highest one.
Really?
On average, it's around $811 this year alone. These statistics come out that range every single year, but for a trade show, that's what people are paying per lead at a trade show.
Oh, wow.
It's really high compared to like a Google ad or any other advertisement that you do when you talk about lead conversion. So the preparation is key. And one of the first steps that I tell people is there an event app? If you're going to a sponsored event, they usually have an app. This app will be huge in giving you the database of everyone that's going to be there. So imagine you now have a whole database, and you could optimize this by looking at the app, seeing who's going to be there. Seeing them by company name, seeing them by job title, seeing them by my actual name. You could do some research beforehand, because a lot of these leads may be top of the funnel, ice cold, that you've never met before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in that case, so there's two journeys that you go on. One is, are you reaching out to people you don't know and meeting people you don't know, or are you talking to people that you've met before?
Right.
And so I segment it in these two different ways, and what you say, how you say it, but the objective's the same. You want to connect on at the event. That's huge. And so getting there. So how are you going to do that? And so now we have to incorporate both the digital world and the real life world, and using a synergy between the two is key, right? Because people, before you even meet them, they will Google you. So if you try to send them an email, they're going to go and be like, who are you? And when you go to Google, what comes up? LinkedIn. It's the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you've become very vulnerable by putting yourself out there on another platform. And so it's crucial for you to look exactly the way that you intend to look professionally on your LinkedIn account, because you can't escape this. LinkedIn is spending a fortune on SEO for their website to be the first one that pops up. And that means your profile will come up. So I do a full analysis. Does your profile look the way it's supposed to? Do you look reputable? Do you look credible? Do you look like someone that I want to work with? You know,
Right.
so everything from the way your picture is on down. And that will be one of the communication tools that you could really use to optimize. Because now if you've found a database of contacts and you connect with them on LinkedIn, now you're basically going into stage 2, which is, hey, you don't know me, but I am credible, I'm trustworthy, I'm an expert in what I do.
Right.
Before you even get to the event.
Before you get to the event. And I think I should have asked the first question actually. About the events, before we get to the choose the events, what would be the good event and what would be the bad event for you? What would be the red flags of no, because there's so many events today, so many events that I don't know, it's very hard to choose the right one, and all seem to be amazing with the with the top speakers from around the world. How do I choose the right event?
So it totally depends on what you want to gain. Right. What are you looking for? Are you looking for recognition and thought leadership, right? Because, for example, there is an AI event that looked fabulous. I looked at the agenda, who's going to be there. Everyone that's there, do you see a collaboration opportunity, a sales opportunity, an optimization? You know, could they be, let's say, a thought leader in their space? You could take a picture with them, tag them, and then exploit that as an opportunity on a social, like a platform like LinkedIn or even some of the other ones for credibility, right? So where you are then positions you as a thought leader because you're in the know of the latest stuff happening in that industry. So do you need to elevate your knowledge and your connections and the people you surround yourself with, right? Or are you looking just for sales, which becomes a totally different way of qualifying it. So if you're looking for customers, are your customers going to be there? And I've had customers come to me and say, help me, I have this event I want to go to. And I said, who is your target demographic? Who's your job title?
Yeah.
And I've had people say, oh, I need an HR director. I said, well, going to an IT event is not going to have your HR director, right? And you can qualify that by looking at the app and verifying it, right? Because now you see people by job title and say, okay, my key people are not at this event.
Right.
Well, what happens when it's a smaller event that may not have an app where the visibility of that may or may not be accessible? Right? And then it comes to the actually going and experimenting and seeing whether or not that's the right event for you. You have to go and understand where the value, but there needs to be a strategy. What is the opportunity at that event based on who's going to be there?
So if we could so there are several opportunities that could be. One is very direct selling, right?
Absolutely.
It could be collaboration.
Yeah.
But there's something else you've said, building up your own credibility, which is taking photos with celebrities and hashtagging them,
Why
right?
not?
Growing your social capital.
At least who you are, right? Because if there's a picture, that's proof, social proof that you were there. So I encourage people at events, take a picture with someone you met, take a picture, post, tag them. I show them how to use the event as a tag. The event organizers need content. They'll repost it.
Right.
Why not optimize that?
Right.
So that's just with the social aspect of it. But more importantly, the person you tag, did you meet them? Did you not? Just do you respect what they're saying? You want to be noticed by them. If you tag them, they will see. They will get a notification that says, boom, you tag them in content. What a great, powerful way, especially if you're giving them accolades, and boosting their ego of what their expertise is, and they're recognizing it. If you want to make someone feel good, this is a great way to do it digitally if you didn't get an opportunity to do it in real life, and build off of that because you were at the same place at the same time.
Right.
And so you can really do that, as strategically. And so I encourage optimize this digital playing field, do it the right way. But even before then, decide how you want to strategize each event you go to so that you're not spending your time walking around aimlessly. Let's see who I'm going to meet. Exactly.
Oh, my friend is here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go see my friend, right? Which is great. And trust me, I love seeing friends at trade shows too.
Yeah.
But if I need to meet other people, I make sure that, I use a proper way of exiting conversation, which is something else that we focus on. Yeah. Because even hanging out with your friends, sometimes you may be like, okay, I need to get some work done. How do I get out of this comfort zone to get out? And how do I do it respectfully, so that they don't feel like I've rejected them, right? Because there's all the ego comes into play. And the human behaviors and psychological aspects come into play, when you're engaging with people in real life.
Wow, we haven't even started about the event. I'm already feeling overwhelmed. I haven't thought about it that, yes, you need to have a proper strategy. And the strategy needs to be offline, online, right? There needs to be a proper fusion between offline and online if you really want to maximize the result of it, right? Now, okay, we've chosen the event. It's a perfect event for me. Let's say I have sort of a plan. I want to do some sales, some potential deals, grow my social capital, show how important I am on my LinkedIn, right? So I'm there at the event on my own. I don't see any friends around me.
Okay, great.
What's next?
So have you reached out to anybody at the event?
All right, yeah.
Before the event?
Let's say the event does not have an app.
Okay.
Though I went to the event where they had an app and there was an opportunity to build, to set up meetings in advance, but that option never worked well.
Never does.
It doesn't, right?
Never does.
Why do they even have it?
They try. Everybody, listen, all the sponsors want to go there for customers.
Yeah.
It's customer acquisition. They need to have it, and they ideally use it as a feature that could be utilized. But let's be honest, most people are so busy at a trade show that they're not looking at the app for meetings. The messages you do get are very sales focused. So you got a lot of suppliers sending, hey, these messages, they come in before the event, right? But it's positioned in a way that feels very salesy, you know, without even knowing who I am, what my needs are. You're selling me your product. Nobody's going to respond to that. That's not today's environment of the sales journey, right? So it's the wrong way, and people are not responding. You know, I look at some of this communication. I go, what? Who do you think is going to respond back to you when you just are just selling? You know, so there is a strategy about communication. You know, qualification is that you have to go through. But just to go back to your point, if you go to an event, you haven't reached out to anybody beforehand, and now I would first validate the event by seeing what are their followers on a LinkedIn page, for example. And they have usually people that would follow that event if it's been happening year after year. And you can start looking at those people. So that's a great way of knowing who are those people. If any of them hit the profile that you're looking to connect with, you could reach out, connect with them and say, are you going to the event this year? I saw that you went before, right? So it's a warmer conversation. So that's one aspect of communication and research that you can go through to really uncover, new opportunities. Second thing that you can do is once you get there, you usually have a map or some way that you can actually look at where people are, where the stands are, where the exhibitors are. That should usually have an agenda, who's speaking when. And I take a few minutes to sit and go through what's happening at the event.
Right.
And especially which speakers are going to be there, again, for your social capital, that I want to make sure I'm in that room, take a picture, and potentially even walk up and introduce myself to. Great conversation. I loved what you had to say. I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn. My name's Rachel, right? So you want to stand out against everybody else in the room. You want to be authentic. The last thing you want to do is go into a sales pitch at that opportunity. So it's timing is everything.
Right.
And who you're talking to makes a huge impact of who that, what that conversation will be. There's no doubt the first day, the second day of most of these events are where the decision makers are. The reality is 80% of decision makers attend trade shows. They need to be on top of what's happening in their industry. They're brought in as industry experts to speak. They're not going to be there day 3 and day 4. So on a trade show floor, you'll see lots of salespeople, but the decision makers are gone. Right? And so that's something to be very weary of. Anyway, to go back to the app, there's other ways to optimize and try to get their attention. The app communication is not one of them. Some event producers have gone into the extent, if you're a sponsor, we will set up meetings, right, for you on your behalf. Or they'll have a networking area where you can actually meet, allocated just for your meet. So you'll have a place to sit down, because the other part of these shows is there's nowhere to sit. Where do you sit and talk to people, And so it's really hard to find a space to sit down and have a conversation for more than a few minutes, right? So there's lots of moving parts to this.
It's a lot of moving parts. That's true. There's a lot of things. So you're at the event. I've prepared. I've connected with some people on LinkedIn. I'm there at the event. Now, one thing that pops up in my head now, in this part of the world, do I have a business card or a QR code on my phone?
So interesting you ask. There's a top question in my training, and people ask all the time, and most people don't have business cards anymore. Going out into the field, the younger generations, they're all digital. Now the QR codes on the phone, you scan. There's so many variables of who has what phone, if in fact they have, an NFT that they're able to actually, scratch that for a second. If they have the technology that they can actually read your QR code, if you're touching a business card, that has some technology to download the information to your contact list, it becomes a whole new world of things you have to consider. There's WhatsApp, which is prevalent in this region. Everybody's using it. I mean, businesses today are using huge, WhatsApp campaigns to reach out to customers. There's QR codes there. There's positives and negatives about having the QR code, because what happens is someone will scan your QR code. They'll be in your phone, but then people are lacking. Who are they? What company do they work for? What's their job title? What's their email? They're missing the rest of the contacts that are so important for qualifying, right? What business they work for. So there's a positive and a negative, right? So I encourage people, use the LinkedIn. You'll at least have the job title. Then connect when you're on the field. you can invite them, let them know you're going to be there, ask them if that you'd like to meet them. If they don't respond, then clearly you can go to their stand or their space and walk up to them and ask by name. Hey, Nina, we're connected on LinkedIn. All of a sudden, it's a warmer lead down the marketing funnel. It's not ice cold. You're calling my name. Name recognition is huge. Right? You now know who I am and that I'm the right person you want to meet. If there's a gatekeeper, a promo girl that hasn't been trained and is clueless standing there, at least you cannot instead say, who's the GM of the business? You go in and say, I need to meet Nina, right? And and they're like, oh, all of a sudden it gives an impression like, you know me, and then basically everyone starts moving, right? You see the response rates like, oh, someone important, have to get them, right? There becomes an urgency that's created around it. So this is very simple. It's just a great tool.
Yeah.
So get the name, go with the database of who you're meeting at what stand, or if you come and you haven't created that yet, take a few minutes and figure out. Go to your LinkedIn, see what the company is, find the right person that you want to meet, and go to the stand and ask for that person. See if they're there. And if they're not, then you can go start talking to somebody else inside the organization that can do the introduction to the right person when needed. And there's a strategy of how to use connections that may be the wrong person to get to the right person.
Right. Do you need to be, first of all, it's a lot of work, that's for sure. But then there's a great tool like LinkedIn, and we're not sponsored by LinkedIn to advertise them, but there's no doubt. Now, what if I'm an introvert? What do I do then? Is there a chance for me?
Well, a lot of engineers are introverts, right? They have to go and they have to be on trade show floors. They have to be the experts that can take people through like the demos and the technology aspect. There's plenty of introverts that are stuck going to these trade shows and they freeze, right? And in that case, and that's why I created BizzAngels.
Right.
So the BizzAngels, what it is, it's solving the problem for introverts that don't want to. There just are people that are exhausted, people who are too busy, people that just don't feel comfortable engaging, because it takes a lot to go to somebody that you don't know, ask by name, start a conversation, qualify that conversation, and try to turn it into a sales opportunity for a next meeting out of the show so that you can start talking business.
Right.
Right? Because
then what is BizzAngel exactly? What is that? A beautiful name.
So it's basically representation with class in essential, right? It's understanding how to elevate, these trade show experiences through human connections. And I train people to become the angels in their business so they can optimize these shows. And I also have my own team. My own team have gone through a training, an elite training, for them to be chosen to represent my brand and the BizzAngels and to be outsourced by companies. So you can hire a BizzAngel to represent your brand at any trade show, at any networking event. They go on behalf of your business. They're branded as a BizzAngel, but they are trained. And they're trained by myself to understand your business. So we go through a very clear training mechanism that understands your demographic of who you're targeting, what problems you're solving as a business, what pain points people would recognize so we can qualify, see that they're interested, and take them to booking a meeting in your calendar. So that journey is very simplified. So you could just outsource it so nobody else, so you don't have to have the stress that comes with it, and there's quite a lot of pain points around this that the BizzAngels solve, so because there's so many people going to trade shows looking, they send somebody else to do it on your behalf. Who are they looking for? What do they need to collect? And they finish an event and they're hired by day at an event with a full database for you. They deliver the name, the company name, the job title, the phone number, the LinkedIn page, and any notes in a sales meeting or potential sales meeting, depending on who the contact is, in your calendar, so that you just have calendar meetings and follow-ups and information that you can just outsource, which is so valuable to start this relationship because those people are there.
So I could just literally go to the event, sit it, and listen to the speakers, take some photos for my social capital, but then BizzAngels on my behalf would go around the exhibition hall and networking spaces, right? And actually book and the meetings and
do
get
the
some
introduction.
leads and introductions.
Yeah. If you're on site, great. They can support you and be like, I found someone that needs to meet you. Boom. We've identified
right,
who it
so
is. We can meet you right there. We invite you to the stand. They basically do the introduction to the right person. Bada bing, bada boom. You take the relationship further from there. They are just breaking the ice for you. And they're doing all the hard work of that heavy lifting, of the searching, the focus, but under my training, because I understand how to do it. I want to make sure they are, trained enough around your product to do it effectively and efficiently. And they're results driven. The reality is they're classy. These are classy, confident women that turn heads when they walk through the showroom floor, because so many of these industries are male dominant, right? So a woman will always get a second glance, but then to see them dressed in, according to a certain brand and standard, and also have sophistication of knowledge, it elevates your brand's recognition, because now you're associated with someone that looks so spectacular and sophisticated, and then can talk about your business
better than you do.
Sometimes that's definitely the case, because people are really challenged by communication, and it's just getting worse with the digital world. People are losing the connection of finding and seeing and and understanding and practicing how to communicate.
Who are these angels? Where do they take them? Where do you find them?
Oh, I'm finding them and recruiting them throughout the Gulf region, but they're really multinational, any nationality, all different languages. And in most cases, they go through this strict training where they have to understand what we're trying to accomplish. I go through a testing to see what they actually recognize and retain. And then from their scoring, they then get a private invitation to go with me to the show floor, where I guide them one-to-one, and I basically scrutinize them, for a better word, of basically see, can they make the cut? Because if they can't, then unfortunately they're not invited to be part of the elite, right? But if they do, they are basically someone who is, oozing with confidence. One of the qualification questions I have is, who's in the room ready to talk to Sheikh Mohammed? If you don't raise your hand, you're in the wrong room.
Is that the question you asked them at the training?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you need confidence like pouring out of you, but now it talks about who can communicate, articulate, and sometimes we have clients that need Arabic, that need Hindi, or clients that need Russian, or there are different nationalities in Dubai, and we're focusing on Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, for all the trade shows happening there, and looking to go even further outside of the network into Asia and to Europe, because these tools and these resources are super valuable. Trade shows are exhausting, and being able to be just a leader in this space and really a trailblazer, because nobody else is focusing on this, and yet people are spending a fortune just being at these trade shows, but they're not doing it effectively.
Right. Now, what if I'm a speaker, right? So now I understand in terms of if I'm an attendee, or I'm just attending an event. Now, what if I'm a speaker? My issue with that a lot, I go there, I do my work, my job very well, my presentation really good, I stay for a bit and I leave. And then sometimes I barely have a photograph from on the stage and so on. And how could this, BizzAngels, so what do I need to do as a speaker also to get maximum results from it?
If you're a speaker, there's no doubt you can get content from the organizers. If you're a speaker, you're probably doing it for a fee or for free, and the least the producers can do is give you pictures. And they'll also bring you as a speaker because they want to optimize your reputation, and they'll exploit it as well. So that's one aspect. But if you want to own that data, right? If you want to get more out of it, I'd squeeze it for all it's worth. I get footage of you speaking the entire time, so you can slice it and dice it and use it on social, and use it for credibility, use it for your content, use it for your pitches, use it for anything and everything, and even reuse. I would get somebody to support you on the ground and interview people after you got off stage.
Oh, right.
Why
testimonials,
not? Get testimonials. Find out what people thought about what you had to say. You have an opportunity at that moment in time to optimize it. And that's exactly what I would do. Make sure, I want to know, you just watched this person on the stage. What did you think about the content? And pre-script questions to get people to answer so they can talk about what they thought of you. Because the journey right now in sales, the biggest one, the golden nugget, is word of mouth marketing. Okay. You want people to spread your knowledge and your expertise to their network. Okay. But besides that, you want people's opinion to help guide other people's buying, purchasing. So by using their testimonies in print, in video, can we reference your name? Can we, tag you? Like use other people to grow this online, digital presence. But also for every pitch, you now have a testimony. You now have a video that you could then slice and dice it into printed, versions to put on your website. You could really maximize what other people thought of you and really choose the stuff that really resonates with your audience to help build this career, right?
So BizzAngels could help you that with also as a speaker then to talk to people after your event, after the presentation, and really get their opinion.
If you need that as a KPI, we just set the KPI of what they need to do. If it's finding people that are a certain level of people to get that testimony from, not just anybody, then it's basically like, okay, all the badges are there. All the badges are hanging from people's necks. You can take a picture. Our team basically cross-reference who they are in the business if it's not listed on the badge, so we know whether or not they're the right qualification for what the content is that you need. But at the end of the day, you need to get a deliverable. So is it a testimony? Is it a meeting? Is it a qualification? We just set that very clearly, and we make sales simple. Because at the end of the day, this is all about conversion for some purpose, right?
I more and more I go into this topic, more and more I think, wow, it's an art. This is an art. This is a true art. I thought all I need is to get dressed and get dressed nicely, print some business cards with QR codes, and then go and talk to people. But it's so much more to do it properly. What are the biggest mistakes people do at the event?
Oh, God.
Apart from drinking coffee and smoking outside.
There are quite a lot. There are quite a lot. So first of all, I talk to people about body language because you can read body language really easy. So I highly recommend you want to read something that helps your career, go read a body language book, and in most cases, one of the bad things about body language is when you're talking to someone and they are clearly not interested and you keep going. I see this all the time and I'm like, just stop talking. Like you're not even aware that they're not even interested. Like look at their feet. If their feet are not pointed to you, that's a great way. But everything's on their face. Everything's on their face to tell you whether or not they're interested.
So what do they have on their face?
Well, their eyes can go in a different way, right?
Yeah.
There's certain directions they go if they're lying. There's ways that they're frowning, the way that they fake smiling. There's a number of different ways. This entire face gives a huge information, but it also extends to the arms, right? So if people are uncomfortable, they may shut off. If they're not, they'll close off. They want to be closed and protected if they don't feel safe. But you can adjust your body language to adjust and do a dance with their body language because we're all energetic fields, right? That's just one part of I see it go wrong all day, every day.
Could I ask here one thing else? We are in Muslim world. I know that some people probably forgot about it, looking at what's going on in Dubai. So
no doubt.
We don't cut that off. But, but at the end of the day, we are in Muslim country, right? So there must be some kind of rules that, protocols maybe that we need to respect the culture we're in. What would be those? Let's say in terms of body language, maybe dressing, how close you are to the person, shaking hands, man, woman.
This is like the top 3, right? There's no doubt the cultural understanding of what's happening here. This is a diversified network of people here. We have the whole world here, which is phenomenal. But for every person that you meet, you don't know if they are religious or not just by looking at them in most cases.
Correct.
You do know if it's an Emirati or if it's someone from Saudi Arabia, so you can tell from a men perspective for sure. But when it comes to touching, that's like a no-go. You don't touch anybody. That's like a big one, right? It doesn't matter if they have a kandora on or not. You just don't touch them. The space, you'll see a lot of people, because of the gender dynamics here, you will see women may or may not be comfortable speaking to a man, and vice versa. Men may be uncomfortable speaking to a woman, and you'll see by their eyes. Are they looking at you in your eyes or not? Right? This is a really interesting thing, and you can tell by their arm. So obviously being aware, and that's why body language is huge. You don't touch anyone. If they're not looking you in the face, they're uncomfortable. If their arms are closed and their feet are point the other way, they're not comfortable. They don't want to talk to you. The easier you can just seamlessly get out in a respectful way. Thank you. It was so nice meeting you. This is a big event. I wish you the best of luck. Happy networking. We'll connect on LinkedIn. And you just drop it like that, or go find someone else in the organization. But that's like a dead giveaway. This person's not interested. And you can't force yourself onto somebody, right?
Yeah.
People do business with people they like. You can adjust your body language, see if they change, right? Because there are strategies around how to adjust. But if they don't adjust and they're still not looking down and not looking you in the face, this is not rude. This is discomfort, right?
Yeah.
And so some people perceive it like, oh my God, they didn't look at me. And I'm like, well, culturally it's forbidden, So like there's a sensitivity and awareness that has to be understood. And so that's a big part of that body language training that I give to become a business angel, for my elite and the business people that come to this region for trade shows. And you can adjust, but I got to talk about some of the other mistakes, because this is some fun stuff. Okay, the worst, the worst one, the big no-no for me is a box in the front of your exhibit stand that says business cards.
Do they still do that?
I see it all the time. I see it all the time, and I'm like, what decade do you live in? Who do you think are those cards inside that bowl?
Unless there's a lottery ticket. What is it that throw it
in if you're giving me a free iPhone. Okay, give me an incentive to give me your card. Maybe there'll be more probability at the right ones. But the reality is, are these the key customers you want to acquire? Do you want to spend time on filtering the database on each one of these cards with the CRM, looking at, do you want to spend time there? This just seems like a complete and utter waste of time. And time is money, right? And so I can't help it. I'm from New York City. We are very, very quick. We do a lot of things fast, but I optimize a trade show so that you do it in the strongest way possible and that you don't waste time on these stupid executions that don't convert. Or spending a ton of time sitting there on the app, sending messages that don't convert. Go up to the stand. But do you know what to say? Do you know how to say it? Have you practiced this? These type of things. So many people come, hello, can I find the boss? They come without information. They don't know who they're looking for. They're asking a dead-end question. Get informed. Get the information. You have the time. Just put the time into actually coming more prepared. So prepare yourself. This will elevate you. People don't want to talk to people that they don't have time for, And so how have you done this? How you prepared? Do you know the name? Have you done it in the right way? And once you talk to me, you finally have the golden opportunity. You're talking to the right person.
Yeah.
What are you going to say? And this is where people go wrong all day, every day.
What do they say?
Everything that they shouldn't be saying.
Three things you shouldn't be saying. What are those?
3 things. I mean, there's more than 3, but the number 1, stop talking. Stop talking. You shouldn't be talking. You should be asking questions, right?
Correct.
So you got to have your questions. I always say get 3 at least so you can start the conversation. If you're standing there going, I sell printing and I've been doing this in the region for so long, and you go into your elevator pitch, you just stop.
Just stop.
Yeah, this is a big part, right? Second part, talking to the wrong person. Our BizzAngels, I train them and I time them to be efficient. Okay, it's a little neurotic, but this is the only way I can get KPIs that match and deliverables based on data. So I know for a fact it takes anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes to find and talk to the right person. Okay, 10 minutes.
2 to 10 minutes.
Once you're speaking to someone.
Right.
Why? Because you're not going to go in and say, hey, you're not the wrong person, I got to go immediately. That would be quite rude, right? You don't want to be a shark. You can be respectful. You can have eloquence or etiquette and be eloquent in your communication and still have an opportunity to get out as soon as possible once you identify that they are not interested in what you actually are doing. Okay. But there needs to be a conversation. So there's a lot of times I see people talking to the wrong person, and I'll watch. I said, why did you talk to them for so long? Why did
Because they felt comfortable.
Well, they didn't know how to get out. They didn't know how to get out.
Yeah.
Or maybe, they looked like a really cool person I want to befriend with. I mean, I don't know how often that happens, but it was a nice conversation. We talked about something totally unrelated to business, which is fine. And that's okay to happen every once in a while. You also want to feel good and be in your happy space and be in joy and connect, because when you're happy and confident, you'll do it. It will just happen naturally, right? But a lot of people are spending too much time with the wrong people. they can't do anything. And when it comes to marketing and sales, there's two different really qualifications. You know, the marketing aspect is you can find out, are they the right person working at the right company? When it comes to sales, do they have a budget? Could they sign off on that budget? How heavy and strong is that need? And do they have a timeline to implement? So those aspects, it's too early in the conversation to talk about at a trade show, many of these points, right? So that's why you have to start building that relationship. And people go into these relationships full speed ahead. And then all of a sudden it seemed as like, I know what you want. You want one thing. It's sales for me. And it's not genuine. And so it's not authentic. And the way you've now positioned yourself is not giving you an opportunity to close that door ever. And I do think how you speak to people, what you're saying is crucial to understanding. You know, you can figure out if someone's going to be a customer within the first couple of minutes of talking to them. And people are overlooking this. They're going in with the strategy of, I have to sell, the pressure of, I have to sell, and losing sales as a service, coming in to understand pains and understand the person and understand what they need and if they're comfortable and what their objectives are at the show. You know, because if you understand that someone's there to sell or someone's there to go speak on on a stage, and they are on a very tight timeline, you know you're not going to waste tons of their time talking about nothing that's irrelevant to them. Right. And so you'd be more aware of getting out of that conversation. And that is like a big one.
It seems like I need to read a psychology book before you go.
It's not a bad thing. And
It's absolutely.
I mean, that's part of, my journey. I've been doing sales for 30 years. I've been reading everything I need to know about people, how to influence people and how, and everything you need about body language and understanding. So I have all this huge amount of knowledge, and that I see when I go out to trade show people are missing. And so now my purpose is to share this knowledge.
And I really appreciate you sharing with us. There's a lot of things that I think, we need at the shows. And I know that you do the corporate trainings, right? So if you don't want the BizzAngels externally, you can develop your own BizzAngels internally in the company, right?
Absolutely.
That would be only yours and serving only your own networking and sales needs. After the event, very quickly, after the event, is there anything I need to do after the event? Apart from, connecting on LinkedIn, maybe sending some follow-up emails, what else is important?
Well, there's no doubt, as I mentioned, the photo op is one thing you could look at, if you're comfortable and comfortable with someone, right? You could do a synopsis. I always love to do like a great reel of everyone I met, tag all of them, be like, it was such a great event. These are the reasons why. This is why I love being in the space. Tag the event, right? So you do that aspect of the digital. The follow-up is crucial. So connecting on LinkedIn, because once you're connected, you're connected for life. Unless they delete you, right? You're connected for life, which gives you a great opportunity of becoming top of mind, which becomes the marketing aspect afterwards that needs to be implemented. And I highly recommend doing it the same day. Making it time-sensitive things are huge in sales.
What is the difference? Same day or a week later?
Okay, a week later. Let's put you in a week later. You have a stack of business cards. You may miss information if you haven't written notes. You have no idea what you spoke to about what. How are you going to personalize this? They are coming back from the trade show themselves. Tons of people are communicating with them a week later. So they're just getting flooded with other communication from other people wanting to meet them, and they always say like the early bird catches the worm. So you want to go fast. You want to go quick. You want to be the first one, follow up and make sure that you can get some, like real estate with their headspace, right? So that you show accountability. You're now building a relationship with a brand new person. Every step you make is crucial. If you say you're going to follow up next Tuesday and you don't, boom, you've just knocked one. You're not reputable. You didn't keep to your word. Okay? Right. So be careful what you say when you commit, but you're now going to be actively following up because people get busy and there's tons of people trying to take that business from you. And you're already competing against maybe other suppliers that they may have that are solving that problem, right? So 80% of leads are not ready to buy. Keep that in mind. So that contact Now you make this is about the accountability and being trustworthy. Can you stick to your word? Can you look like a professional person? Have you followed up? And now it's about the nurture. So is there a next action point? And I always use a reference like, who has the ball? So in sports, only the person with the ball can score.
Right.
Right. And in life, only with the person that is moving this conversation along is really ready to get that door closed. So in sales, that image, imagine if I've told you, let's meet, and you've shown interest, you want to meet. Now I'm following up and saying, okay, we're going to meet on Tuesday at 2:00. I still have the ball, right? I've given you a time. Now I've passed you the ball. It's up to you to come back to me. I'm waiting for you to give me a response and confirm. Maybe you don't confirm. What are you going to do? Now it's about the WhatsApp, and it becomes a different touch point option, right? So are you getting LinkedIn? Or have you used email? Have you used WhatsApp? Now, have you used your voice? Have you shown a picture, maybe a reminder of the event when you met? You know?
Wow, yeah.
There's like, we are constantly trying to move through noise, and there's so much. And if you're in sales, you're up against the world. So you better stand out. So how are you going to stand out? And by using tools like your voice, like a video recording, like a message on WhatsApp, by following up in the right amount of time and making it simple for them to actually commit to you. Because at the end of the day, if they're not interested and 80% leads are not going to close, what's the probability they're going to meet you? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That becomes a really hard discussion. So you're constantly in the state of nurturing, and it should be lightly nurturing. So did you have a discussion and they got to see all the credibility that you have around your business? Did you identify the problems that they have so that you can play off those problems and talk about how you solve them for other clients? What type of nurturing? What is that communication? How often? What touch points? That becomes a strategy afterwards. If you need automation, and then when are you picking up the phone to call them? And if you're not, when are you giving an inside salesperson a script that is relevant to that conversation to talk? So where are you in this game of sales that you can actually have a very strict roadmap of what you need to do when, and just following this so it's simple and there's no room for guessing. But the ultimate goal is to get that ball and score, and that's a potential face-to-face meeting in their office.
Wow. I think to score that ball is the whole science. Now, I'm absolutely shocked, full of insights, and thankful to you for making it so, to elaborate the whole thing. It's the whole strategy. There's so many things that we need to consider so we don't waste our time by just walking around uselessly and smoking somewhere, drinking coffee and talking to the friends rather than growing our businesses. I want to thank you so much, but before I let you go, I'd like to ask you a question as an entrepreneur, because I know you're not just a great speaker, sales trainer, and the founder, but you're growing a big business with your BizzAngels. If you were given a superpower as an entrepreneur, what power would you want to be given?
Jeez, I feel like there's
Any
too many.
superpower God tells you can have, what would be that superpower?
I just look at my weaknesses of where, structure financially, where I need kind of super strength to basically be able to plan. Like I may be a great planner for a trade show, but then my weakness is basically planning financially for growth, right? And so I'd love to have that as a superpower. Just be like, boom, okay, what's financial growth is here, ready to go, So manifesting of money to just grow, because I need people, I need good people. I need, getting the word out, marketing is the easy part for me. And that is the hardest part of any business, right? But you need to have revenue coming in, and you need to have basically the management of this revenue in the right way to optimize your business growth. And there's no doubt that there's an art to that.
Yeah.
There's art to that. And that's something that I would love. And I invite anyone who's a potential partner that wants to come in and help with a superpower, because, as much as I'd like to wish for the superpower, it's not so easy to generate. I know my superpower It's going out, marketing, making everyone know what we do, how we do it, and how we can help their business. And I'm there authentically doing that. And that is my purpose on the planet. I want to be able to connect with as many people as possible. And I think just having the foundation and superpower of the money flowing to really invite and really explode faster would be an incredible gift to have. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the superpowers you wish for yourself to be soon, finding you soon, very soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I love you. I love being here. And thank you so much for letting me share my expertise. Okay.
Now I'm even more scared about events.
Million miles just like this.
It's recording.
All right, G, talk to us. Tell us 3,
Thank
2,
you
1,
so
action.
much.
I'm ready for the interrogation.
Okay, guys. Okay. I was so worried to pronounce your surname incorrectly that I forgot your
The whole
first
name. Like, who are
They can create. I'm so sorry, hon.
Don't worry.
I thought you would like the way I introduced you, and I completely forgot it also.